Okay, so we're here finally in the all-new Honda Civic Type R, here with my colleague Matt Bird from Piston Heads, and we're here to test what the new Type R is really like. Now, there's been so much hype, hasn't there, about this car, mainly about its running gear, that it's going to be force-induced, and that's a real sticking point for Honda owners because they're used to their Revy VTEC engines. So the real thing that we've been worried about is how has Honda managed to incorporate a turbocharger with a VTEC engine. We know we're going to get more torque, but are we going to lose that drivability, that dynamic that we're so used to and that Honda owners really love? Well, today we're going to get the answers. So the plan today is we've got an hour or so to have a play with the car on the road, and then we'll be getting it on the track at the Slovakia ring a little bit later, so we'll be able to put it through its paces there. Okay, so we've got some lovely twisty roads here in Austria, and we're really going to get a press on, see how we feel. This thing is quick, really quick, and it revs out, so unusual for a turbo engine. Okay, so we've got 310 PS, that's about 306 horsepower, 400 newton meters of torque. How on earth are Honda going to manage to get all of that power down through the front wheels? It's bound to be torque steer. Well, amazingly, there's just not. If we drop it down a gear into third, coming up to a twist just here, get on the power really early. Ordinarily we expect to understeer. We can feel the wheels scrabbling around just a little, but no drama whatsoever. Tighter corner here, second gear. Really early, nothing at all. This thing is fast, seriously fast. One thing that's quite unusual for a Honda is because we're used to having to rev every single gear to get the power, you're changing gears all the time, but with this there's so much torque. So I'm in third, picks up straight away, hard on the brakes, keep it in third for a tight left-hander. You've got ever such a slight hesitation, ever such a slight lag, but it's so minimal in comparison to most turbo cars that we've tested. Believe how this thing likes to still rev out. Now, a couple of months ago we got the opportunity to sit down and interview Honda's chief engineer, Mr. Yagi-san, and what a fascinating, totally incredible guy he is. Ordinarily you'd think that someone quite high up in any business really is going to be quite stuffy, quite politically correct, but what turned into from quite a formal interview ended up feeling like I was having a good old chat with an old mate about how good cars were and our shared love of cars and what we grew up driving. He told me all about how he grew up in Japan driving A86 Corollas, how all of his mates had similar cars, and how for them it was all about feel, just in the enjoyment of driving. Nothing had to be that fast, you just enjoyed driving. But when I was chatting to him, the most interesting thing that he probably said was the reason that we have this turbocharged Civic that we're testing today is because one of his good mates is the head of a big tuning house in Japan. He didn't tell me which one, but they had built a force-induced FN2 Civic, and he went to take it for a test drive, and he said he knew from that moment just what the capabilities and the potential was in the Civic platform, and he knew that the new Civic had to be force-induced, and that's why we have this turbocharged car that we're driving today. One thing that's really noticeable is just how good the ride is on this. The FN2 did come under a lot of criticism for just how crashy it was on your everyday roads. and when we saw that this was going to be running 19s, the all-new car, we did have some concerns, but it is so soft. It is really, really supple, but it firms up beautifully in the corners. Now obviously we have this R+ button just down here on our left hand side, and we can press that and it firms up the ride, and you do notice it being slightly firmer, but again it's still not crashy. It's such a supple ride. It sharpens up the throttle response. The steering weights up, not as much as you might think, but it does still weight up. But we'll probably get to really appreciate those factors a bit later when we're on track.